Hi y'all, I'm Melody and welcome to my channel where I discuss fragrances. Today I wanted to share with you 8 fragrances that I really wish I loved, but unfortunately I just don't enjoy. So if that interests you, please keep watching. I was recently watching Maria Collett's video. I really love her channel and I'll link that down below. But she was talking about Donna Born in Roma and how that fragrance she has really wanted to like, but she's struggled to enjoy it. And it got me thinking of all these fragrances that I keep going back to, wanting to enjoy for whatever reason, and they just don't work for me, and I just keep trying. And so I have a list of 8 fragrances that I really want to love, but I just don't. So the first one on my list is the whole Vie Est Belle line. I try so hard to like that line. I've tested them numbers of times on my skin, on my clothes, and none of them seem to work for me. I find that the original is like too heavy and cloying. Even in the middle of winter, I find it just chokes me out. I think the bottle is very pretty. I like the little scarf or bow thing that hangs off of the side. I love Julia Roberts as a child. All of my favorite movies had her in it. In fact, I watched Pretty Woman when I was 5 and did not understand the concept of that movie whatsoever at 5, but she's just always been one of my favorite actresses. So I love the line. I think they're beautiful, but I just don't enjoy any of the fragrances. I thought maybe that I'd like the Soleil Crystal, and I did try that one, and the first time I kind of enjoyed it, but I wanted to give it a second wear, and the next time the coconut just was kind of off on my skin. So unfortunately that's a line that I just at this point have determined I just can't do, and I just need to stop. The next one is the Miss Dior line. When I was first looking into fragrances, I thought it was such a beautiful bottle. It was very classic looking, and I really wanted one in my collection. But after trying every one of them, the one that I liked the most was, I believe, Absolutely Blooming. I could be wrong, but I think it was Absolutely Blooming, and even still that one just wasn't for me. It didn't speak to me in any way. It would be nice and perhaps I'd get it. I just know I would never pull that fragrance and actually use it. And the Miss Dior line is kind of expensive, so I don't really want to be buying a fragrance that I don't love. So anyways, I love the bottles. I think they're so pretty, but it just doesn't do it for me. Another one that's just a complete classic that everyone says every woman needs a Coco Chanel fragrance in their collection. I don't like any of the Chanel fragrances, not one of them, but the Coco Mademoiselle, the bottle and everything about it, I really want to love it. I do love Orange Blossom, but there's something to that fragrance that I just can't do. Even ones that seem more modern, not like an old stuffy fragrance, every time I smell any of the Chanel fragrances, it reminds me of the old ladies at church. And it's not a bad smell, it's just, it does not feel like me in any way. So that's another one that I wish I really loved. I really love the bottle and the idea of having a Chanel fragrance, but who knows, one day maybe my nose will change and I'll really love it. So every once in a while when I'm testing fragrances, I try it again, but it's just not for me. Another one kind of along those lines is Mon Paris. I think it has such a beautiful little bottle and I love the little black bow on there. But I find all of those fragrances so boring. Absolutely boring. It just smells like a generic perfume from a perfume counter. There's nothing that excites me about it. It's just boring. It's not offensive. It doesn't bother my nose in any way. It's unremarkable to me. I just really wish I felt something towards it, but There's nothing about it. I don't know why that is. A lot of people love it, and a lot of people have those in their collection, but I just don't care for it at all. So anyhow, I'd love one of those bottles, but I really don't want to pay the price for a fragrance that I don't even care about. So most of those fragrances I've mentioned have something to do with the bottle or something that I just like the look of the bottle, but I don't care for the fragrance. But this one, I just don't like the fragrance at all, and I don't even like the bottle, which is funny because so many people talk about this bottle and say it's so stunning, but I don't even get that. Like, I don't think it's a very pretty bottle or anything, so nothing about this fragrance I'm drawn to, but it's so hyped here on YouTube that I try it all the time. So YSL's Libre, I've tried the EDT, I've tried the original, I've tried the Intense, and I don't like those fragrances at all. I don't even think the bottle is objectively very nice. I don't understand people's obsession with that fragrance or the bottle. People talk about the bottle like it's so great, and honestly, it's okay. There's nothing overly exciting about the bottle, and that's about the nicest thing I can say about it. The fragrance itself on my skin pulls so masculine. I absolutely hate that fragrance. I don't think I've hated a fragrance that much ever. The opening is always very lovely, but once it dries down on my skin, it turns so masculine, and not in like a sexy masculine way, in like a teenage boy spraying too much Axe kind of way. I had sprayed it on, and then my family and I went to this Barnes & Noble that was nearby, and I was looking for some books, and there was this employee who was stocking shelves, and I kept getting so annoyed thinking, gosh, he is wearing some terrible body spray and it's just awful. And I was getting annoyed at this employee. I didn't say anything, but I kept moving, and then he was closer stacking stuff, and then I realized it wasn't him at all. It was the one spray of Libre that I had on my arm, and I was so embarrassed and also just completely grossed out. I'm sure it doesn't smell that way on other people. A lot of people just love that fragrance, but on me, it's just terrible. It smells like a stinky teenage boy. That's the only way I can describe that fragrance. So that's one that I absolutely just cannot stand. And I still kind of wish I understood what people loved in that fragrance. So it's not so much that I wish I loved it myself, I just really want to understand where other people are coming from. Another one that it's really just all about the bottle. I absolutely think the bottle is stunning. Lilique Soleil. The first time I smelled that fragrance, I really did enjoy it, but I also just loved the bottle. So then I've tried it once or twice since, and I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't work for me. I keep wanting to try it because I love the bottle so much. I think it's really pretty, and if nothing else, the little one I think is very cute, but I really want to love a fragrance before I bring it into my collection. So that's one that I do want to try again. I've really only tried it 2 or 3 times, and it may have been the weather, but that is one that I really wish I loved. Another one that is about the bottle, once again, is the Twilly Deramus. I think that bottle is so cute with the little bowler cap on it. I just absolutely think it's a beautiful bottle, and the first time I really didn't like ginger, but I'm getting more accustomed to ginger, and I think I actually kind of like that fragrance, but I just want it to be a love before I settle on buying it, because I know at this point I don't think I'd be pulling for it very often, and I really want fragrances that I'm actually going to use up. So that fragrance is one that I just wish I loved a little bit more, but it is something that I think I want to keep trying out. And lastly, I'm on the same page as Maria. Donna Born in Roma is such a stunning bottle, I think, but the fragrance is just boring to me. It's a pretty girl fragrance. The bottle doesn't look that way to me. It doesn't scream pretty girl, but the fragrance itself is kind of just a pretty girl generic fragrance. I don't find anything super spectacular about it. A lot of people really love it, and I really want to love it. I keep trying that fragrance over and over and over again, and I'm only spraying it once. Maybe it does something more when you have it like sprayed all over your clothes and stuff, but I just have not seen the appeal of that fragrance. But I really love the bottle, and I really want that in my collection, but unfortunately it just doesn't work for me. I know it's like this fruity vanilla, but there's nothing that jumps out to me as like really spectacular. So that's my list of fragrances I wished I loved. A lot of it had to do with the bottles themselves. I went from just having fragrances for the smell, but I now like keep all the packaging, and I'm looking at the presentation of the bottle as well as the fragrance itself. So there are just so many stunning bottles and stuff where the fragrance just isn't there, or sometimes there's a fragrance that I really love the smell of but I hate the packaging, and in those cases I still consider getting the fragrance. But I think it is a full package. You want like the fragrance that looks beautiful on your vanity but also smells amazing, and unfortunately these are all fragrances that the packaging is just beautiful but the formulas just don't work for me. I mentioned a lot of incredibly popular fragrances, but they just don't work for me, so I hope nobody is offended by this video. I just wanted to share some fragrances that I really wish I loved. I mean, they are so popular for a reason. I just either don't get the hype, or I know that it's just something with my body chemistry. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a like. Tell me, are there any fragrances that you struggle with in the same way, that you just really wish you loved them? I would love to hear that down below. I hope you've enjoyed these videos. I would really love it if you would subscribe, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.